We're excited for our feature founders interview with our own Rebecca Palmer and Johnny and Paige Hanna. Who here has seen the homie billboards on the freeway? I hope every hand goes up, because if your hand is not up, you're closing your eyes while you're driving, which is not safe, okay? Is there a favorite? Anyone have a favorite they want to share? Over here. Oh, cool. Love that. One more over here at the other side. Red shirt. Love it. Love it. Cool. Well, with that, let's welcome Rebecca and Johnny and Paige Hanna to the stage. One more reminder, make sure you have the mic before you ask a question, okay? Thank you.
Thank you so much, AJ, for that. Is this good? Thank you for the introduction, and thank you to Darren for, this is not working. Thank you for Darren for getting us up and moving, like on such a cold day. That's what you need to have, right? So I'm excited to introduce you to Homie. As you all probably know, and as the billboards kind of attest, it's one of the hottest tech companies in Utah right now. Started in early 2015 as a way to streamline real estate transactions. And now people can buy or sell homes simply, efficiently, and more enjoyably than they could before. You know, on top of that, it saves customers literally thousands of dollars. So let's have a seat.
Thank you.
So first off, Johnny, so did I get all of that right?
Yeah, that's accurate.
Oh, good. Thank you.
And am I on? Can everybody hear me?
No.
Okay, is that better?
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Thank you. So let's just dig right in. Tell us about the origins of Homie.
So we started in 2015. I had co-founded a company called Entrada. In 2003, we won the BYU Business Plan competition. And in 2015, I just felt like it was time to do something new, and I wasn't quite sure what that was, but I talked to my co-founders and said it's time for me to move on, and they threw me a going away party. And that afternoon, a guy approached me by the name of Mike Peregrina. A guy from South Central Los Angeles had an idea to change the real estate industry, and I had built real estate software at Entrada for renters of apartments. So he said, what I have is very similar to what you've done, and I'd love to partner with you on this idea. And he said he's thinking of naming the company Homie. And just right there, I said, I'm a homie, let's do this. I thought it was great. And my wife didn't like the name so much at the beginning, but selling homes and what we're doing online, I think it's been a perfect name for us. But I reached out to one of my other co-founders of Entrada, Mike Triunfo. He was our CTO and co-founder. And he was really interested in the idea. We'd all purchased homes before. We'd all hired agents. Some of us had asked for discounts from those agents previously. But we had a little experience, and we just thought there's no reason to pay such high commissions anymore, especially with the technology that already existed when we were thinking of this idea, like Zillow and Trulia and KSL. Most people find homes on their own. You don't have to drive around with an agent anymore. So we thought there's got to be a way to reduce the cost and make it affordable for people.
Oh, thank you so much. And I mean, let's talk a little bit more about that technology. For the people in the audience who might not know, what does the technology do?
Well, I think it's good to understand the existing structure. So the existing agent, the traditional realtor, sells around 7 homes a year. And because they sell so few homes, they have to charge such a high fee. And Realtor Magazine explains that on average, it takes 16 hours to sell a home. So let's say the average realtor does 10 a year. That's 160 hours worth of work, about 4 weeks worth of work. And so we just thought there's no reason for those fees to exist. So our agents, we've been able to build our systems and processes and bring in enough leads to the company to where they don't have to cold call out all day and prospect. We do about 130 transactions each a year. And so that's allowed us to reduce the cost. And the technology that we've built has allowed us to be very efficient internally. And then the technology we've built to allow the consumer to list their own home online and have it automatically publish on Zillow, on Trulia, on the MLS. So we built a lot of tools just to take care of a lot of the manual data entry that realtors typically go through.
I see. So it's kind of like selling your own home. It's definitely like finding your home you want to buy, but you still have agents?
Yeah.
How does that work?
Every buyer and every seller get an assigned realtor.
Okay.
So we have a whole team of realtors that work with our clients and hold their hand at any time they need help. So as soon as you list your home with us, an agent calls you and walks you through the process and lets them know, I'm your dedicated agent. Here's my cell phone, here's my email, and they introduce you to the other team of people that will be helping you along the transaction.
Oh, okay. Great. I think that makes a lot of sense. So back in those early days, which I guess 2015, not that long ago, how did you start getting traction for this idea?
We, of course, reached out to our networks, posted on LinkedIn, on Facebook, everywhere we could, saying, hey, this is what we're doing, and we gave it away for free. We said, we'll sell your home for free to try it out and understand the process. So we went down that path. And the vision of Homey wasn't just to automate the realtor, but it's to automate the loan process, automate title and escrow, all the way through to close. So our focus was, making money after the transaction, basically just giving it away for a very low price. So initially, that's how we started. We got going. We understood the process, the transaction. We've made improvements along the way.
Oh, that's interesting. I'd like to hear a little bit more about that. Kind of my original question was, how did it work out how you thought it was going to? And this first part of getting traction, was it all like what you thought it was going to be, or did you have to kind of pivot and change?
Yeah.
At that stage?
I have to step in here
Please,
because this part, he really brushed over this like how Homey began thing because he left Entrada. He had his going away party on the 31st of January, and the next day and somebody had approached him about this Homey idea, but the next day we were like, so what are you going to do? What?
Yeah.
And he searched out different companies, but this Homey one was, at the back of his mind. And he, after a few months of searching, came to me and said, okay, I've got this opportunity. I could do this. It's a paying job. I've got this opportunity. It doesn't pay very much, but it's, exciting and growth. And he went through, and then he got to Homey, and he said, this one, least likely to succeed. Biggest challenge, probably we'll get hung up with politics and government, and we won't make anything for a really long time, but this is the one I want to do. So I just said, okay, well, so how are you going to do it? And he was like, well, the realtor process is kind of clunky, so I think we'll just chip away at that. So then they started looking at this thing. So the evolution of Homey from 2015 to coming up in 2019, there's no way you could say that, like, you knew what you were doing jumping in,
It's
given
exactly
those.
what we planned on.
Yeah. It was a piece of cake. No, but so what he was giving away free to these friends were like, hey, can we sell your house for you and see what works? And at first they thought, we don't need realtors. We're going to do this without realtors. And they went into this, I think, pretty arrogantly.
Whatever.
So they thought, we'll just get rid of realtors. Everyone's going to love us. It'll be great. Everybody knows that they don't need to waste, $16,000 in commissions when they can only spend, I think you started off, $600 for the service. And then, that was a little bit of a slow go for about a year. And then they realized, wait, we actually need realtors. Because that's what the whole industry had taught you for 100 years, is that a realtor knows what they're doing.
Well, I think an example that really points out one of the biggest changes that we made is we had all these buyers coming to our website pretty quickly. I mean, with some of the advertisements we were doing, we were getting a lot of traction to the website. And so we felt like we understood the sell side process pretty well. We were selling, 100 plus homes a month. It was going pretty well, but on the buy side, this is a really good example of where we inserted our realtors and where they've been tremendous. And part of it is because the industry is so messed up. But when all these buyers came to us, we said, look, go find any home out there Go find a Century 21 home, go find a Remax home, a Keller Williams home. Whatever home you find with whatever agent is listing it, they're going to pay us 3%. They're going to give us 3% commission. So it's not free to buy a home like you've been told. 3% is coming to us. That's built into the price of the home. So you as the buyer, you're paying an inflated price. But what we'll do is we'll negotiate that 3% out of the price of the home for you. Or if you want us just to collect it, we can just give it back to you. And so that sounded pretty appealing to our buyers. And buyers went out in the market to do this. And they would go to a home and they'd say, hey, you know, I want to see this home. And the representative of that home would say, well, who's your realtor? They need to let you in. I put a lock on the door. And they'd say, well, no, that's not how it works. You know, I'm here. I just want to tour the home. You're the agent that's selling it. Can you show it to me? And they said, that's not how this industry works. I don't sell and show the home. My part is putting it online and putting a lockbox on the door. You need to go get your agent to get their butt down here to open the door for you. And we were just thinking, man, this is crazy. This whole sales training we just went through, they don't actually sell the home. That whole process, the selling realtor doesn't walk through any one of those steps, not one of them. It's your buyer agent that has to come take you. So our buyers couldn't get in homes, the homes that the seller agents were supposed to be selling. So that's where it was like, how do we solve that problem? So at first, part of the arrogance was,
you didn't know the problem existed.
We didn't know the problem existed. Yeah. But another thing was, well, we need to go hire door openers. That sucks. We need to go hire a bunch of people just to open doors. And, you know, and so we did. We hired people and said, we'll pay anybody $50 that has a license to go open a door for any of our buyers that want to go out there and buy a home. And that worked for a little while, but it was still, like, as we measured it and talked to our clients, like, the service level just wasn't there. And a lot of the questions that people had when they went to buy the home, they could call us at our headquarters at any time, but these door openers weren't paid to take care of the client. They weren't, you know, we didn't pay them based on customer service like we do now. So that's evolved quite a bit to where we have really solid salespeople, really solid customer service people that help open doors, walk you through it, talk about the home, talk about how if that home is going to be gone in 2 hours, because in this market, anything under $300,000 is gone. You have to make an offer now. So our agents say, look, if you really like this home, you don't like the kitchen, you know, we have technology that we give to our agents where they can see the kitchen and give them a remodel price if they just don't like that kitchen. Say, look, you can make an offer here, you can always remodel the kitchen, and this is about what your cost is going to be. So there's so much more value that we didn't understand that could be added to that process. And we didn't really understand how bad the industry was, that seller agents didn't actually sell and show the home or wouldn't even open up the door.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that. That's so interesting. So I think going along the same lines of that early traction, I'd like to talk about financing. I understand you got some venture capital pretty early and also a grant from the Governor's Office of Economic Development about the same time. So I was wondering if you could kind of tell us about how that happened and then what advice you might have for entrepreneurs in the audience who are at about that stage.
Yeah, we bootstrapped Entrada since 2003 till now. We never took any venture money, and I think that's always the best way to go. If you can make money and just put it back into the company, I think that's ideal. With Homey, from the concept of the idea, we knew that it would be expensive to educate the public, educate the masses. So we knew that we needed money to put up billboards. We knew that we needed money to do YouTube videos and all these digital ads.
And provide for 6 kids.
And provide for 6 kids. So we knew that was important, and Utah is a really, I think, amazing state for entrepreneurs, and the Governor's Office of Economic Development, they have grants that they give to startups. They have their own little startup competition. You go pitch, and they gave us $100,000 to begin. So that was huge for us. We used that, pitched that to other venture institutions and said, look, we already have a little bit of money. You know, we have some traction. We have some buzz, excitement going on with what we're doing, and that definitely helped us get more venture money in the company.
And do you recommend that people go after grants or just stick to VC or go to angel?
Yeah, for the grant in particular, we had already put together our pitch deck for investors. So we use that same pitch deck for the governor's office and went in, and so it was pretty simple. So we recommend that to everybody. And I don't know how many they do each year. I think they've increased that pool. I think they do it for like 25, 30 companies each year. So we've had other friends that have gotten that same grant from our recommendations. So yeah, I definitely recommend taking advantage of that.
Oh, that's great. If we have time, I want to hear a little bit more about how you kind of talked them into it. Such a big industry to take on. But Paige, I have some questions for you. First off, we love that you guys came as a couple. We've had a few couples come here to RevRoad University because we know how important a family is in a startup. So tell us, what's that been like for you?
I told Johnny when I read this question that could I just say hell and then just leave it. The truth is it hasn't. I met Johnny 3 years into Entrada,
Yeah.
Property Solutions then, and completely missed the hardest years. When I met Johnny, he was living in a closet and renting out his bedroom. So I should have known that that's a sign of what startups look like, but I just thought, oh, he's so wise. He's saving money. And I never had to live in the closet with him. But so then we went through Entrada, and it really had started kicking in when we met. He was, paid off of commissions. It continued to grow and grow and grow and grow. Took us out to Philadelphia for a few years and brought us back here, and was great. So when he realized it was time to leave Entrada, it was the first time I kind of thought, wait, what does this startup world really look like? Because it didn't feel like a startup when I met him. So then I told you, chose Homey, told me he was the least likely to succeed. That was the same time I was telling him I want to have another baby. So, have a sixth baby and have no idea what was going to happen. It was a giant leap. And then I've just been watching this roller coaster. I think one of the things I didn't anticipate was the emotional toll it would take on him.
Oh.
So to watch, I don't know if you guys know this, but like realtors are really nice, but they're also like super mean. And they're only mean when you try to get rid of their profession. So but for the most part, they've been really nice. So as soon as Johnny tried to go the route of saying like, we don't need you, they took offense to that, and then they pushed back really hard, and I didn't anticipate people not wanting to use Homey. I just thought, oh, everybody's going to see that if the average savings is $10,000, then it's a no-brainer. Just go with them. So emotionally, that's one of the biggest ways that we've been affected that I didn't really anticipate. And the perspective I had from leaving Entrada and starting something new with Johnny was realizing, I am so glad we didn't wait to have experiences when he was going through Entrada, because it ended. And it showed me that if we go into Homey and he just devoted everything to Homey and we stopped having experiences in marriage or family, that Homey could go away too, and then what would we have? So I loved the perspective that the startup world's given me, which is you still have to live life very much. You can't just give 100% to this company, because this company might not work, and then do you have a marriage afterwards? Do you have relationships with your kids? That's been my experience so far.
Great, thank you. That's really helpful, and I think it's good to know that everybody struggles.
Oh, yeah.
Even like something as successful as Homey, there's still some ups and downs. What would you say to people in the audience today, especially people with families in the audience, about how you can make that work better?
Johnny and I had a really funny / horrible conversation a few nights ago, where I was really upset. I was so mad because I felt like Homey had been taking the bigger part of his emotions and his mental capacity. And we have 6 kids at home, and 1 on the way. And thank you. And I was getting really mad because I thought, I shouldn't have to fight this hard for you to be here. You know, and the conversation really opened up this, I don't know, this new perspective where you came home and you were like, do you remember what you said when you came home?
No.
He said, I need to treat you like a client and like an investor. And I was like, yeah, because you treat them better, you're right? Like you say you'll be there at a certain time and then you show up. Or, you know, like if you're not going to, then you call. Just these little things. Or an investor, you know, you really put your best foot forward. But when he realized that, I thought, yeah, how many times would a client, you know, would you drop a ball with the client before they'd walk away? Not that I was going to walk away, but it kind of showed the gravity of marriage in a startup, which is, where are you putting your best self? And when I'm pregnant, I'm not really my best self, but it really helps if he is. Yeah. And so it was just another one of those conversations in marriage which we could have and grow from it, or I could have stepped back and gotten resentful. And fortunately, what Johnny and I have learned in the last 12 years is that those hard conversations are always better. So that's what I would say. If you're going into a startup, you will have hard conversations with your coworkers, and know that those hard conversations are equally as important to bring home and have, because that's what's sustaining, that's what's left. And we've seen too many times in business, you go through years and years of putting in as much as you can in this business, and then when that's done, you have no marriage, you have no relationship with your kids. So it's priorities.
Yeah, and I mean, I do remember now. So, but I do, like, I talked to a lot of my friends in business on this subject too, and I mean, I am on time to my investor meetings. I am on time to client meetings. You know, if I tell a client that had a rough experience with us, you know, and I hop on a call, like, I am punctual. And so, you know, that was a really good conversation for us to have, to just refocus, because a lot of times I'll say, you know, I'll be home at 6 for dinner. It's like 6:10, 6:15. And I've talked to my friends about this too, and that's super common. But, you know, I think we can, because they're family, it's like, oh, they'll understand, or they'll know that I have something going on that's really important. But
I think that's specifically the entrepreneur profession too, is that a lot of times you expect your spouse to know that things are so busy that you should be grateful for when I do come home. You know, like, well, it was just 6:15, but it's the patterns, and it's just, you know, respect and consideration. So it's those kinds of things that we fight for, which is just open communication. You know, people run late. This kind of work and profession is unpredictable and is crazy. So if you have open communication and expectations, it's great.
Yeah, and I do think that looking at your family as a business, I think it's really actually a smart thing. Like, having the same focus on culture and strategy, that could be taken over to business. And thinking about what I do, I have 2 full-time jobs. When I get home at 6, I am now a full-time dad. Like, it's not, I'm relaxed, I've done my work for the day. And it's just another full-time job, and I do have clients. I need to make sure I have my one-on-ones with my 5 little boys and my little girl. And my little girl gets a little bit more attention, but the 5 boys get some attention.
It happens. Well, and I love that idea that you kind of alluded to as your spouse and your family being an investor. Because really, if you think about it, you've invested your whole life, and you've invested your whole life into her as well. But I really love that. And I've noticed, we talked a little bit about those early billboard campaigns. I understand you also helped the business. Kind of back then. Tell us how about those early campaigns.
Oh, the billboards.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys are sick of them, but I'm kind of sick of them. But
never.
We're selling faster than 2 Hour Church. I thought that was a pretty
good the avoid the Senate commission. That one was like, there was a lot of kickback from that one. And the billboards were funny. Johnny and I would just lay in bed and try to think of new ones, and then we'd see, you know, who could make each other laugh or who could be edgy and just on the line. And so that was at the beginning. I think Johnny's done an awesome job of bringing work home and talking about things, not complaining or not. I don't know, the way he approached everything was he was open for feedback all the time. And so whether it was billboards or whether it was, you know, coworker issues or how to reach out to a client, he brought everything home and we would just brainstorm. And that's what we've done since we were married. And so the billboards were just a funny part of those brainstorms.
I think that's awesome. And I mean, for the entrepreneurs in the audience today, will you just raise your hand if you've ever had a great idea in bed? Any business pillow talk in the audience? Yeah, the other day I got up and found a notebook to write something down. That's entrepreneur life right there. Well, thank you so much. Now let's get back on the topic of marketing. It seems like, you know, from an outside perspective, that your company has invested a lot of money into marketing. So talk to us about the strategy there.
Yeah, the fact that there are 14,000 licensed agents here in Utah, and we just opened Phoenix, there's 40,000 licensed agents in the city of Phoenix. So there's a lot of misinformation out there. The second we popped up, there was misinformation.
Oh, yeah.
That, you know, they don't do this, they don't do that. You know, they have a bunch of lawsuits against them. You know, we've never had one lawsuit against us, but that's like one of the most common ones that we see. So, you know, just as a business, getting your word out there for any product that you have is hard enough. But once you get it out there and then you have that backlash of misinformation, it's really difficult. So you know, a good chunk of our budget is spent on marketing, on educating. A lot of it's done through testimonials of clients that say, you know, I thought it was going to be hard. I thought I was going to be taking a risk, but homie actually gave me an assigned realtor, walked me through the process, answered all my questions, and saved me $54,000. You know, so we try to let our clients explain their experience versus us telling the story. So that's been a key focus for us.
Okay, thank you. So I'm wondering about marketing costs versus maybe other kind of business development costs or other things that you could do. Does it seem to you like you spend a lot on marketing? I don't know about your business.
Yeah, I think any consumer brand company has the majority of their money going into marketing. Billboards are the only reason we put it up was for recruiting purposes. Our clients were property owners, and they're few and far between. But one of the best ways that we found to hit the masses were billboards. We didn't do that right away, but the second we did, traffic to the website went crazy. And we've had a formula. I do think, you know, the teal color is unique. But we only do about 7 to 8 words per billboard. If you look at most billboards, they're horrible. You can't read half of what they have on there and don't even know the company name or their logo super small. So we've had a bigger strategy around that to just drive traffic to our website, and then on our website is where we educate. So a lot of people try to educate on the billboard, but you're going 75, 85 miles an hour, and you just don't have time to do that. So consumer marketing is expensive when you do billboards, and you know, it was, everybody raised their hand, you've seen them. We kind of own I-15. You know, we've spent a lot of our venture capital money on billboard companies, so invest in billboard companies, I guess is what you should take out of that. But it's been extremely effective. You know, wherever we've put them, if we put a couple up in Ogden, we start to get buyers and sellers in Ogden. So it's been great. We just, in Phoenix, we added 3 in a row in Phoenix just last week, and the multiples in a row, people might catch the last 2, and then they're like, oh, I got to read what that first one says.
Sure.
So those have been extremely effective for us.
Oh, that's brilliant. So a lot of what Homie has been about has been disrupting the real estate market, and you've also done some maybe disruptive advertising. Tell us about the Homie for Senate campaign in Arizona. What happened there?
They didn't win.
Yeah.
So,
dang it.
Yeah, so we had an amazing PR firm in Phoenix that we hired, and we said we want to do something edgy and creative, and they said, well, Jeff Flake, Senator Flake just stepped down from his position, so that open Senate seat was there.
A huge race.
Yeah, and they're like, why don't you guys run for Senate? You know, we're like, what are you talking about? You know, and they said, no, really, like, Homie should run for Senate, and we should put a whole campaign around it. You should build a website, homieforsenate.com. And so that's what we did. You know, I heard the pitch was given to me, and after about 30 seconds, I said, let's do it. This sounds awesome. So we knew it would be a little controversial. We ended up putting about 500 4-foot by 4-foot signs, political signs, throughout the city of Phoenix. They were teal, it said vote for homie, and on the bottom it said homieforsenate.com. And we rolled that out in about, I don't know, it was like a week-long period. We just rushed to get it out there. And you go to the website, and we're the teal party because of the color teal. So we did a lot of political puns. But we had 3 campaign promises, and one of them was that if elected, we would save Arizonans $1 billion in real estate tax, a real estate commission.
Oh, wow.
So, and we hit a lot of the different points and directed them back to our website to realize that, you know, we're a technology company, we're a real estate software company, and at the bottom it says, you know, when you go to vote in elections, choose the best candidate of your choice, but when you go to buy or sell a home, we hope you vote for homie. So it was just kind of a bold marketing idea, but we didn't know if it would have success, if it wouldn't have success. We knew the 500 signs would drive some traffic because they're huge, seriously 4 feet by 4 feet. They were, and they were everywhere. But yeah, immediately, and similar to here, the Association of Realtors immediately made thousands of calls to the Division of Real Estate and thousands of calls to the Attorney General, just trying to get us shut down, and calls to news agencies, newspapers, radio stations, saying, you know, these guys are horrible, they're confusing voters, you know.
It's illegal.
Yeah, it's illegal, you know, all of these different things. And so we started getting calls from all these news agencies, which was exactly what we wanted. We didn't know how it would come about. But they would interview us, and they'd say, you know, are you worried people are going to vote for homie? And we said, look, if Arizonans choose us over your candidates, you guys have a problem. A bigger problem. You know, something's bad's going on there. You know, you need different people running for office. But so we just said, no, we want to bring a little levity to the whole campaign season, and that campaign race between the senators was vicious. It was ugly. So we did have a lot of feedback saying this is hilarious, this was an amazing marketing stunt. And then, you know, it actually continued. The realtors got a reporter to write an article about us saying, Phoenix realtors are irked by homie's signs. You know, and it's like, well, of course your competitors are irked.
Right.
You know, taxi drivers are mad at Uber. You know, like it was more advertising for us. But yeah, the Attorney General did get involved. He called us and said, hey, you know, will you take them down? And we said, yeah, of course, campaign season's almost done, you know. So, but we did. We agreed to take them down, and he just did a press release about a week ago just saying that, you know, we want homie to take these signs down. We've agreed. They've agreed to never run for Senate again, you know, and we never had plans to run for Senate again. You know,
or any other political office.
We were like, mayor, we'll run for mayor, you know, but yeah, we agreed to never do it again, and he's like, great, okay. And then he did a press release saying, you know, they agreed to never do it again. And we collected some information from people to give Homie for Senate t-shirts. And so he said, I want you to get rid of all of the data that you collected, and we thought that's fine. But we said we want to come through on our promise of delivering t-shirts. So he carved that out and said, yeah, you can still deliver your t-shirts. So.
And was there a small fine?
No, there's no fine. So
that's nice.
Yeah, I mean, we I don't know, we spent $20,000 on that stunt, and we probably got about $400,000 worth of marketing views and attention from it, and it's still going. We had a 2-minute segment on MSNBC nationwide. Donald Trump came to town at the same time, and so MSNBC had a little setup outside, and so they were like, who is this Homie for Senate campaign? And went through that, and it was just, it was a lot of fun. So we got so much attention, and that's really increased traffic to our website, and people are now starting to list their homes and buy through us. So
wow, sounds like it really
awesome.
Paid off.
Yeah, it was great.
That's a fun story. So I wanted to leave a lot of time today for audience questions. I know you guys are really open to that. So can I get some hands raised And wait for the mic. Thank you in the back. Oh.
Thanks. My question is, you told us a little bit about your decision when you had some other job opportunities and you thought Homey was the least likely to succeed, but you did it anyway. Why did you choose Homey, and what was so appealing to you about that option?
I don't think as entrepreneurs or just as people in general that we have an opportunity to change an industry very often in our lives. And this idea is so big. My partner that introduced it to me, he was like, we gotta be stealth. So he came up with a stealth name called Grand Slam. And he's like, this is a Grand Slam if we can do this, you know. And the excitement of changing an industry that's never been changed before just motivates us every day. And all the backlash and hate mail that we get, you know, from the existing community, it really rallies us and it pulls us together. But to me, that's like the housing market, like thinking of these bubbles. We can actually affect that. We have the opportunity to take that on. Every time you go to buy a home, if you turn around and sell it, you have to sell it for 6% more just to break even, just on realtor fees. And so we thought, you know, we could, if people adopted this, we could slow down these housing bubbles and the prices just going out of control with people just turning around and selling them and being forced to pay more. We thought of the misaligned incentives. We thought of all these different things. And it's a $25 trillion industry. And we just thought, man, we would love to have the opportunity to take that on.
And I want to add, just there was a personal piece that I watched happen within Johnny, which when he left Entrada, he was like, am I even capable of doing anything? Am I going to be an asset to another company? I watched this a little bit of an image crisis or a confidence crisis, and when Homey came around, I just watched him really go, what am I capable of? And then he looked deep and he thought, I can do this. So the fear of taking on, I think we're still learning how massive this industry is, was definitely overpowered by this self-confidence that just came and told him, you can. There's really nothing you can't do if you don't want to. So that's the personal piece I watched.
And everybody that works with this, everybody feels that same way. People that apply, they're like, I want in. I want to be part of this. I want to revolutionize this industry. So many realtors apply and just say, you know, I'm tired of charging these high fees. You know, and I want to, you know, I don't want to do one deal every 2 months. You know, our realtors are doing just deals all the time, and that savings to the client of seeing them now have $10,000 in their bank account where they didn't before, it's so rewarding. So I don't know, that excitement of disruption is what we just wanted to go after.
Thank you so much. You have any other questions?
Thank you. My name is Dan Oki. I've noticed among entrepreneurs there's a common theme of shiny object syndrome. And it's really easy to want to chase a ton of ideas, and I'm sure through Entrada and Homey there's been a lot of different opportunities that you could have pursued. How have you both as a couple agreed and supported each other in focus that has allowed your success?
Shiny objects in business or shiny objects just in general? Like we want a Tesla. We haven't bought that yet. So.
I think I would say business opportunities.
Okay. Yeah, so I would think for us going nationwide, you know, it's like as soon as we started, we're like, we want to just go nationwide and have everybody sign up and do this. But it's now been 3 years of heads down just in Utah. We wanted to perfect the process. And again, our explaining that buy-side process, our buyers had a terrible experience going and looking at homes. They couldn't even get in the door. And they're like, I got to go hire my cousin or whoever it is to get them in. So it's taken us time to really perfect that. And over the last 12 months, we've had a really solid, consistent client experience. And then our software that we've built, we feel that it's in place to make sure our people don't hate life. Doing 130 transactions a year is a lot different than 7 or 8. And so we want to make sure they have a decent work-life balance. And at this point in time, that's where we thought, okay, it's consistent. We're now ready to expand, so we've opened up Arizona. But we've seen other companies similar to us just go nationwide or go into multi-regions, and they just run out of cash. And so it's taken discipline to not chase, some of those different opportunities. We did become a mortgage company. We were going to open up Las Vegas. That was going to be our first area. This was a year before Arizona. And instead, we bought a mortgage company. And we wanted to automate that process. So we're now offering people the lowest rates possible. And combining that, when you buy a home, you can save thousands on the loan. So we are on our path to creating that one-stop shop. But those are the decisions we've made to not just chase growth or national exposure, where being just a Utah company, that's what a lot of VCs are like, you got to get out. But we've been diligent of just going deep.
I think in any area of life, there are shiny objects. And in business and with Entrada, it's such a benefit to have partners that bring different things to the table. And it's also an opportunity to look at different people. And Johnny had a former partner who was very good at shiny objects. But that's what he was best at. And it was really hard to see how one person chasing one thing, affected a lot of people on the back end. And so Johnny and I could sit back and see, okay, well, there's good things about moving forward and having that desire to grow and to continually do something better, but there's some risk with it, and there's, potential damage back here. So it gave a good place for wisdom in that, I think, in business and moving forward. And on a personal level, I think when we look at those shiny objects, if we can really look at what's our motive behind it, or are we utilizing this as a distraction? What are we trying to distract from? Is there pain that I'm trying to mask and I'm going over here? So if we can really step back and slow down and see, well, okay, first I can see this is a shiny object. Why is it there? Why do I want it? And if we're honest with ourselves, we can really narrow those down and see which ones are, okay, no, this shiny object is actually just something really exciting I'd like to do, and then go from there. But it takes a little bit of self-reflection and just slow down to see why you want what you want.
That's such a good answer. Thank you. I think we have time for maybe 2 more questions. Thanks, AJ.
I'm David Eldridge. I have... Right after you say we have 2 more questions, I actually have 2 questions. One is about people, one is about competition. Going off of your comment about having a partner who wanted to take it one direction that affected everybody else, when partnering with people on an idea, what would you say are the most important things, aspects or attributes of that person that you look for in trying to start a business with them? Because that in turn affects your life and relationships. That's my first question.
Yeah, I think the number one quality we look for when hiring people is the same quality that I've looked for in partners. And I think it's the hardest one to have. It's one that we have to constantly work on, but it's humility. And she hit, some of my arrogant experiences, and and having her call me out has been super helpful. But I think having partners that are willing to listen, to adapt, to change, to take criticism, to talk through things. I mean, when we first formed Homey, that was one of my biggest things was, there were things that really what I learned at Entrada were a lot of things that I didn't want to do and didn't want to repeat again. I wanted to make it a better experience. And so that has been our number one quality in value is humility.
And how you look for humility. I think it's the same in any relationship, in your dating life, in, yes, picking business partners. It's, can somebody take criticism, and then can I take criticism? And that was one of the first things I learned about Johnny when I met him was I can have an open conversation, and he, instead of just flipping it and telling me everything that he thinks I'm doing wrong, he internalizes and looks at it and processes it, and then he'll come back and say, this is where I think I'm weak, and this is what I think I'm doing okay, and I can see this. Now, he married an extremely proud person, so I needed that example of humility for me to learn some humility. But when he did that in choosing business partners going forward, he thought, I mean, he met Mike Peregrina, who's wonderful, who's I would not have known is so humble because if you ever meet him, he's just the most confident looking guy. He has been so open to taking criticism, and Johnny had worked with Mike Triumfo previously and knew he was one of the most humble people, and it has changed the homie experience because there's two, well, and their whole executive team, but you can sit in a room and say, you're really bugging me the way you're doing this, and they can go, yeah, I can see that. And I can see that, you know, you're acting this way and this is why I'm acting this way. And, you know, it's a safe place because of humility.
Thank you very much. I think you guys have both been very open about the effects of relationship into incorporating that into business. Going into my next question, I was in Arizona a few months ago talking with a friend about Homie. I was telling him he's doing real estate something down there, and I was telling him how there's this disruptive technology that I think can take over the industry, and he brought up a maybe competitor, the Open Door app,
Yep.
And I thought, oh, I don't know if Homie includes that, and I wonder. I've seen the value, in that thought process, which is that you're kind of cutting out the realtor and allowing people without pressure to go tag into different homes that they just want to go walk through and look without the pressure of a realtor on them. Have you looked at incorporating any of that into your company? Have you, I guess, are there any lessons along with that? Are there any lessons or things that your competition is doing that you look to incorporate as you move forward?
Yeah, I just actually was with the CEO of Open Door last week and heard from him, brilliant guy, and they have an amazing business model. They've raised over $1 billion. And what they've done is they take that money, that institutional money, and if you want to sell your home, they just buy it from you right away. They just say, here's an offer. You don't have to have your home on the market. You don't have to stage it. You don't have to go through any of that pain. And so they're solving that pain of going through that process. So I definitely think that's an option for a lot of people. The example that just occurred last week, so one of our clients, Taylor Napierski, he and his family sold with us. We did a little testimonial video with them. They got an offer from Open Door for $40,000 less than what we sold their home for in 48 hours. And the difference there is Open Door buying homes, they buy them and they flip them. So they're not going to buy your home for more than what it's worth, where if you sell with an agent, you're going to try to get in a bidding war and sell it for as much money as possible. The pain of going through that process is what you have to be willing to do. But my question, to our clients, this is what we've determined. Will you wait 48 hours in that instance, or on average for the year of 2018, our average days on market have been 14 days here in Utah, from our condos to $1 million homes. 14 days, would you be willing to wait 14 days to get $10,000? How long does it take you to save $10,000? So if you don't want to wait that 14 days, I think Open Door is a perfect solution for you. And we've toyed with the idea of having kind of a offer in an envelope, like this is what we'll pay, and it's going to be less than what you could probably get. But the problem that I see with Open Door is the typical realtor commission is 6%. On their website, it says they charge 6 to 13% commission. So I mentioned that offer was $40,000 less, but they still were going to charge that at least 6% commission in addition to that. So if you add that $40,000 and the $14,000 we ended up saving them, it was a $54,000 difference. So when we're, and because they've raised $1 billion, their marketing's been all over the city of Phoenix. So we're confused a lot as if we're just like them. So this is where the marketing question comes in, the education. We have to get that out there. I believe that consumers, when given the choice, do you just want to sell your home this second and take what's in the envelope, or wait a couple weeks? And on average, $10,000. Save that. You know, we think that's a no-brainer, that people wait a couple weeks, go through a couple tours, and then have that change in their pockets.
Yeah, I love that. I love how you're keeping an eye on the competition and always trying to be better and be optimal for your customers. That's brilliant. I think one last question. You with the mic in the back? Yeah.
There you go. Is that better?
Yeah.
First off, thank you for your inspiration and education, especially on the personal side. That can't be easy to talk about in front of a bunch of strangers, so thank you. But my first question is, you guys have talked quite a bit about your marketing and what you have done that you've succeeded in. So my first question is, what have you tried that has just crashed and burned? And then second, because you guys have innovated, like you said, in an industry. My mom's a broker. She's been a broker for 30 years, and she was just really excited you guys came now and not 30 years ago. So I've heard all about, you know, the innovation in this industry, and it's definitely needed. But there's also a lot of innovation that could happen, you know, with appraisals and inspections and the title company and mortgage companies. There's been a little bit in mortgage, but not as much. What's next for Homey?
Yeah, so where we've crashed and burned, I think, is on the marketing side. Some of our messaging, I think, has gotten, when it's been bland, it's forgettable. And so we've spent a lot of money on marketing. And the thing is, as we've seen these digital ads or videos, we've thought, can you just put a RE/MAX logo right after that message? And if you can, we're failing. Like it doesn't differentiate who we are versus a RE/MAX. So we've spent a lot, you know, we do spend a lot of money in marketing, and we don't get it right all the time, but you know, we had several campaigns that may have just been a little forgettable, may have been a little sleepy. And some of it, I think, was partly because of the backlash. We didn't want to be hated. You know, we were like, oh, we'll just do a nice, fun message. But without the edgy marketing, it's forgettable, and you drive by, you don't even look at the billboards or whatever it is, and just it's not effective. So that's been one of the biggest, you know, ongoing crash and burns that we have if the campaigns just aren't memorable. And then the second question, what was the second one?
What are you innovating in next?
Oh, innovating, yeah. So you mentioned all the other pieces of title and escrow and home inspections. And again, just thinking of the home buying process, when you go to buy a home, you make an offer, and then you get an inspection, and then you get an appraisal, and then you go back on each one of those things and renegotiate. Such a waste of time. So our goal is to get an inspection and appraisal up front. So when you negotiate, you're done. That's it. And we're a mortgage company now, so those are part of the things that you have to go through in order to get your loan approved. If those are done, those are the contingencies, the financing contingencies. You can turn around and close in a matter of days. So we're seeing that with a lot of our clients. They're closing so early in so many instances because we're now a real estate brokerage and a mortgage company. But our goal is to also now do inspections and appraisals and become the title and escrow company and all the other pieces that exist. Everybody wants to know who these homeowners are that are saving $10,000. So we're building a marketplace to where you can get discounts through Vivint, discounts through Best Buy, moving services, cable, internet. I mean, it is just absolutely endless. And that's where I think this opportunity, we don't even know how big it is yet, but it is, you know, a $25 trillion industry. You know, Qualtrics, amazing company, such a good example for us. $8 billion is what they sold for. But I mean, this market, it's unlimited. So yeah, in endless amounts of things, but it's the shiny objects that we got to be careful of when going down that path.
That is so exciting. Definitely world-changing, like you were talking about. So the last question we like to ask all of our guests, what's something exciting that your success has allowed you to do?
Have so many babies.
Oh, I love it.
When we saw this question, Johnny and I have spent a lot of nights talking about what success is.
Yeah.
And I think that was the most interesting part, is defining it for ourselves. And some of the fun things we do with, you know, if there's financial success, would be vacations. I can say if, yeah, because that can, who knows where that goes.
We live in Center Orem, And there was a house right behind us that was built in 1930 that was crumbling on itself. You couldn't even get a home loan on it because it was just a disaster. So we ended up just buying it and tearing it down and putting in a pirate ship. So
that's Johnny's definition of success.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a pirate ship. And
yeah, so we can't buy, it's the Tesla pirate ship. But no, it's been awesome because that's where we spend our time with all the kids. You know, we're in our backyard playing, having a good time, and I think that's allowed us to
put more back into our family.
Have more time
That's what
with family.
Doing.
Oh, that is so awesome. Well, thank you so much. Can we get another round of applause for Johnny and Paige?
Fantastic story, wasn't it? One more time. Round of applause. Great job, you guys. Oh, thank you. What a cool story about, hold on just a minute, we have a gift for you, okay? What a cool story about outside of the box marketing, right? And then striking that balance with family and business. Such a hard thing to do. So thank you for that example. And as a token of our appreciation, we want to give you this custom-made canvas bag for RevRoad to remember your experience here.
It could be a diaper bag.
That's right. Whatever you want.
Yeah.
Yes. And then there's 2 water bottles as well. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. We're wrapping up. Really quick, I want to thank everyone that's been involved today, the tech team, the video team, Rebecca, Darren, of course, and then Johnny and Paige. Thank you so much for being here. And all of you, thank you for coming. This is what makes this possible, is your attendance. Homie is also the sponsor of our lunch, which I think is ready for us. Thumbs up if we're about ready for that. Okay, I see one. Great. One last thing before we let you go. Next RevU is January 3rd. So we want to show you a quick video intro about what that looks like. And then we'll let you go grab some lunch and mingle, okay? Here it is. Hi, this is AJ Rounds, the CMO here at RevRoad. We're so excited to invite you on January 3rd, 2019 to our RevU series, our founder series. This month we're going to be highlighting founder Noel Vallejo of Test Out. Rebecca Palmer will be doing the interview, and she'll find out exactly how he built his company in the coaching and high-tech space. So let's play the video so you can see a little bit more about how he did it.
Education is power. Education is opportunity. Education is the path to a better life. At Test Out, our mission is to make a difference in a person's life through education using breakthrough technology. Confidence leads to hope. Hope for a better job, a better career, and a better life. A life that is well within their reach.
Come join us on January 3rd, 2019. Once again, get it on your calendar now. We've got networking, free lunch, and a chance to ask questions to some of the greatest entrepreneurs here in the community about how you can build your company. We'll see you there. If you have anyone or know anyone, or it's you that's looking to boost your business and accelerate your business, apply online at RevRoad. Thank you so much.